In 1922, a trembling Jay Gatsby reaches out across New York's Long Island Sound to a distant green light symbolic of his love for Daisy. He's so close to fulfilling his dream, but it all ends in tragedy. So how does this extraordinary man who comes from nothing to climb the ladder of success make such a mess of it? Why, ultimately, is his dream impossible to realise? All of us at one time or another have had a longing to go back to a time in our lives when things seemed simple. Fitzgerald highlights the struggle we feel when we try to relive the past. Paradoxically, our memories are with us and yet absent at the same time. Gatsby, however, views time as something that can be repeated. Nostalgia is a veil that blurs his vision and allows the illusion of his life to expand and then burst with a bang like a balloon at one of his extravagant parties. Gatsby dreams big from a young age, refusing to accept his lowly status as a farmer's boy. He has already carved out a new identity for himself before he meets Daisy, changing his name while searching restlessly for meaning and purpose in his life. There is a whisper of magic and the metaphysical in the imagery, which is continued when he meets Daisy. When Daisy blooms, the natural imagery suggests an innocence in their love for each other. But one of the meanings of incarnation is the human representation of a principle or idea, indicating that this is the moment when Gatsby turns from his spiritual ideals to his pursuit of the American dream. Daisy is that dream to Gatsby. As soon as Gatsby makes this shift in his thinking, the innocence of their love starts to deteriorate and perish, because his eyes are no longer on the noble virtue of love, and his life's purpose becomes one of acquiring Daisy as a prize. For him, part of Daisy's allure lies in her status and wealth. All of his hope and wonder is beholden to her, because he is enchanted by her and the world she lives in as a beautiful girl in a charmed life. Her desirability adds value in Gatsby's eyes. Even as they kiss for the first time, Daisy's face is white and her breath perishable, as if she is already fading into illusion. In his attempt to live up to the ideals of Daisy and her old world wealth, Gatsby headed east to acquire wealth beyond the wildest dreams of most. But at what cost? Nostalgia acts like a veil shrouding him from the awful truth. He loses his honourable intentions and Midwest American ideals to the shallow and corrupt facade of New York in the East. As a consequence, as Fitzgerald sees it, he loses his potential to be a truly great man. At the end of chapter 1, we are first introduced to the green light alongside our first glimpse of Gatsby's lone figure outside on his lawn. The power of nostalgia is visible in his trembling body. It grips him as he pines for the past and what he lost when he returned to war after his relationship with Daisy. Gatsby gets what he wished for. He and Daisy are reunited. Gatsby invites Daisy to his home and they look out across the bay towards the green light, but it has disappeared in the mist. As he stares intently, still so wrapped up in his hopes and dreams, he doesn't even notice Daisy's gesture of linking herself to him. This woman next to him, this physical presence, is not the phantom Daisy of his dreams, and the nostalgic yearning he felt for Daisy Faye, the 18-year-old lover from his past, is finally over. And yet his feelings of nostalgia have been with him for so long. They have weaved into the fibre of his purpose and existence. Now, it is difficult to adjust to the revelation that Daisy is up close and personal. Fitzgerald's metaphorical language comparing Daisy to the moon and the green light to a star reveals how far removed from the scene he and his dream feel. Daisy has been an abstract thought for 5 years, an enchanted object, an exquisitely perfect muse in his mind's eye. He feels confused. He has dreamed of this moment, but now it's falling short of his expectations. Rather, he feels doubt as he grapples with a new reality that isn't clouded by nostalgia. Daisy says she wants to push him around in the pink and golden billow of foamy clouds above the sea, but his head is already up there, in the clouds. Ironically, he finds the earthly physical presence of Daisy is a disturbance of his abstract dream of her. He has spent 5 years building his castle, his fairy tale. The power of nostalgia has engulfed him, and he builds a fluffy, feathery nest of fantasy and dreams. His belief in the past and an ability to return there is unwavering, but sadly, the foundations of his empire are all set on a cloud. What fills his heart is nothing more than a ghostly representation of reality. As Gatsby sets about building his empire, he moves more and more away from himself and his original values. He may be living the American dream with unimaginable wealth, surrounded by fabulous people, but underneath the silvery surface, his life has fallen out of balance. His nostalgia and striving to do whatever it takes to get that feeling back clouds his understanding of what is actually important. He surrounds himself with people who lack depth and who do not care for him on any kind of deeper level. As a consequence, only Nick is present to support him and be there for him in the end. It isn't just Daisy he loses along the way. He loses himself too. He is unable to comprehend the present moment with Daisy in it until she has agreed to wipe clean everything that has happened since their love affair 5 years ago. He believes that telling Tom of their love will allow the past to revive itself, but instead, it highlights the gulf between them. Time has changed them both. The romantic idealism of Gatsby that Daisy is drawn to in the first place is dimmed and then completely snuffs out when she realises that he has been lying to her, and to compete with Tom, he has resorted to crime. She is unfulfilled and has become cynical, like all the other characters from the American establishment in the novel. She is left wondering if she really knows him at all. In the hotel room, she understands what he does not, that they are different people now, and this is not who she fell in love with. Gatsby continues to cling on to hope, but it is too late. The pressure of his expectations are also unbearable for her. How can she live up to his nostalgic idealised visions of her? In seeking to better himself, and in his attempt to woo Daisy in her voice full of money, he is desperate for approval and becomes mesmerised by society's bias towards wealth and power. He chases the New World materialism that was developing at that time, and in doing so, he becomes corrupted. Ironically, his striving for this acceptance means the innocence of their young love was lost, almost as soon as it was found. In seeking Daisy's approval, he rejects the old world values and its accompanying virtues. Finally, he too understands. His dream loses its filter of nostalgia, and his reality is nightmarish to contemplate. In the final lines, Fitzgerald leaves us thinking about the effect that nostalgia has on us all. Perhaps The Great Gatsby resonates with so many because we all understand the power nostalgia has to soothe us. When life is rough, we look back to better times. We bravely make bold plans for the future in the hope that the future will bring us back to the feelings of safety and security tucked away in our past. But these moments were fleeting, and now they are gone. Forever. Gatsby's downfall and how it links to the corruption of American society in the 1920s can be explored further here.